All right. Hello, everybody. Victor Pena with OmniPrint International. Today, I have a special guest. I want to introduce you guys. It's my good buddy, Jerrid. He is from Unlimited Promotions Group. Jerrid, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing great. It's pretty
Awesome.
hot out here, other than that.
Yeah. Tell me about it. So it's good to have you. You gave me a good idea, or at least inspired a good idea in me. Ever since all this chaos started, I've been really focused and doubling down on helping a lot of my customers grow. And, we're always like communicating on Instagram, and sometimes I'm pushing you hard. And the good thing is that you reach out, you ask questions, and my main mission is to build a community of you guys, the entrepreneurs that are winning and that are just dominating out there. So a lot of the stuff that you're going through, like I've gone through, and I want to be able to share some of that with you guys and inspire you to keep pushing forward. So I want to kind of get you an opportunity to introduce yourself, maybe tell us a little bit about you, your business, a little bit about your story, so that we can kind of have some good context there.
Sure. As you guys know, my name is Jerrid. I own Unlimited Promotions Group. Basically, the way I got started in this, it's a really long story, but the gist of it was I used to work for a company. I used to work with adults with intellectual disabilities, and it was a great job. I was right out of high school, and I was kind of going to college. I didn't really know what I wanted to do with my life, so I got a full-time job, and I just started working. And eventually I capped out at like, $20 an hour, which is, it's good, it's okay. But I knew, I was worth more than $20 an hour. And if I really wanted to, start my life, eventually have a family and, actually thrive, I'd have to make a lot more than $20 an hour. Like I said, it's a long story. I'm not going to get into all the minor details, but I ended up reaching out to a good buddy of mine. He said, let's look into going to business together. And the way I actually met OmniPrint was, we ended up looking at going into the printing business, and we heard there was a show out there in Vegas. And we went out to Vegas, and we were looking around for like hours at all the different, screen printing machines, DTG machines, sublimation machines. I had no idea, all the different methods of printing, and it was a good exposure for me to go and see that. And we went to the OmniPrint booth, and one of the girls came up to us and said, "Let me scan your badge. Let me put you in this raffle." I'm like, "Oh, we're not going to win this thing. Like, we just want to learn about the printer and, see what's going on." And we were there to learn. And she was so insistent, and we said, fine, scan our badge. So she scanned the badge. We came back a couple hours later, and I was like, watch us win this thing. That would be insane. So we ended up winning the printer, and that's how we got tied in with OmniPrint. So,
Yeah,
the printer's
crazy.
isn't that crazy? Like, and there's so much more to that story, but like, just the fact that happened, like, I'll have to tell you offline, but craziness.
So we actually give away a printer at some of the biggest shows, guys, and it's real. And I actually forgot, Jerrid is one of the winners. A lot of the times, some of the customers there, they're actually there to buy, and they end up winning the machine. I typically don't never win anything in raffles,
It's so funny. If you look at the video, you actually say, "Oh, I never win anything. This is great." Like,
yeah, exactly.
you literally said that.
I was happy for you guys.
It's a great addition to the shop. So a little bit about what we do here. My background in this business, I came from a shop that did something similar to this. Before we went into this, I worked for free for like half a year just to kind of get the ins and outs, just to feel around like if I wanted to do this.
Yep.
I came from a guy that did promotional products, embroidery, and screen printing. He very rarely did DTG because it's so expensive to outsource it. Basically, with my business, I do a lot. Not only do I do the DTG, I do screen printing, I do embroidery, I do promotional items. I tell people I can put a logo on pretty much anything. It's a double-edged sword. There's a lot of pros and a lot of cons to that. With my business right now, I've been in this about almost 2 years now, and I'm getting to the point where, last year was okay. This year, even in quarantine, I'm doing pretty good. And that has to do with the masks. I've been selling the masks.
Yeah.
But a majority of it is just me like busting my butt. I've been networking. I've joined the Chamber of Commerce. I've joined the Rotary Club out here. Everyone in this town pretty much knows my name right now. And that's just me making calls and doing good work. And I'm getting to the point where I'm thinking about bringing an employee in, but that's a scary step,
Yeah, it is.
There's a lot of liability there. And, I've seen a lot of different ways that it's been done. And with my business model as it is, kind of right now where I'm at, it's, close as many deals as possible and keep as many people as happy as possible by myself. And that's pretty much where I'm at.
Yeah.
So,
So you would say you're kind of in the solopreneur phase.
Yep, that is correct.
tell everybody how old you are.
I'm 24.
24. That's awesome. You know, I would say one of the key takeaways that I heard you right now is you worked for free for 6 months to learn. A lot of people hesitate to do because you're thinking, oh, you know what, I need to get paid. But a lot of the times you actually need to invest in yourself to learn, right? So super important. And then you said that you've been doing this already for 2 years, right? I think it's important for people to understand out there, like, think about it this way. It really depends. Like, you got to have legit goals, right? For sure. But patience is super important, because if you don't have the patience, like 2 years in all scheme of things at 24 is pretty much like, no time, right? You've done a lot in 2 years. And sometimes you got to give yourself the credit of the stuff that you've done to get where you're at, right? And I struggle with that sometimes too. So I try to let people like hear that and understand that, like, you could literally screw up for 10 years and like be 34 and still be a millionaire after that. Like that's how like you got to look at it. Like, you could be on the beach hanging out doing nothing for 10 years right now. So a lot of times you want stuff super fast, but it prevents you for making sure that you think of the long game. So make sure you're also thinking of the long game. What do you want to do in the long term, right? So for example, your first thing is you're thinking about bringing an employee, and that's why I want to segue into that. You're thinking about bringing one employee in, and it's scary, right? So why would you think it's scary right now?
So the main reasons is, I've had a great run, these last few months.
Yeah.
It could totally be, I don't know. I've only been in business 2 years. I haven't weathered many storms, and we're in the middle of a pandemic. I haven't let that stop me now. But at the same time, I don't want to bring somebody in and make a commitment to them and then not be able to pay them. That's number one. Number two is, if somebody's, in there and I have them on production, or they happen to slip, or they fall, or they burn themselves on the heat press, which I've done many times. It's really not that bad.
Yeah.
But, they could easily say, hey, I can't work, I want workers' comp. But, I don't know much about that. That scares me. And then, just, I feel like if I don't keep spending as much time on my customers and reaching out, like right now, it's a little slow today. I probably made about, 10 calls before this call, and I sent out a bunch of Instagram messages. I got one order in that time. I need a hustle like that to keep money coming through the door. If I'm going to bring somebody on, that's time that I have to devote to training them. And, it could sink me if it's not, you know what I'm saying? Like,
For sure.
So time is very valuable.
It is. So if you think about like the most valuable time that you're spending, right? And that's why I went into the long game, right? Mm-hmm. The long game, and I went through the same things. I started by doing everything myself, every job, right? And I had the same kind of hesitations, right? And this is the thing, you can't, if you want to build something great long term, you can't do it just on your own, right? It's literally impossible, because you're going to have 24 hours in the day just like anybody else. So you have to learn about leveraging your time. The only way to leverage your time is by documenting what you're doing, making sure that you do a video, you put it on, specific training, so that it doesn't take so much time to train somebody new. Because the reality is, it is very possible that whoever that you decide can come in and help you, will end up going somewhere else, right? And you will do it several times, right? So I think that if you can leverage somebody to do your production and make sure they do quality work, and you focus on actually being out there in front of your customer, which I call like major time that you spend in front of your customer, talking to them, working things out, helping them pick out what kind of products they want to get from you. That's major time, because they don't think about the long nights in front of the printer, or doing embroidery, all that stuff. They don't really think about that. They think about how it feels when you give them the stuff with their logo on it, and how professional they feel. That's what makes them keep coming back when you do quality stuff. So if you can have somebody help you do that stuff, maybe start them part-time. I could tell you it is a scary step. Every time I hired my first guy, my second guy, my pay went to zero. I remember those days. So that made me go hustle and get the work so I could pay them and I could pay myself and then make sure I structured the business properly to be able to do that. So what would you say? Do you struggle with finding somebody to come in?
So I put out on Facebook, like just to test the waters, like
Yeah.
on the whatchamacallit, like the job search, like I'm looking for an apprentice. I use the words apprentice. I'm still trying to figure out, because I don't want to promise someone full-time pay, right?
Yeah.
And I want it to be enticing enough where, I'll give them commission on stuff they sell. That's another thing I was going to bring up.
Yeah.
It's a strategic way of bringing someone in, how many hats I should have them wear, and how to entice them if I can't pay them a lot. Like you said, bring someone in part-time. I was thinking about bringing somebody in part-time and then, giving them like a set, amount.
Yeah.
But, saying, if you sell anything or you bring customers in, I'll give you commission on that sale. But at the same time, I don't know. I'm in that place of, I don't know. I know a lot of people that hire under the table and do that. I know a lot of people that do it by the books. So, that's another thing I wanted to bring up to you is.
Yeah. One thing that's going to really help you is at the beginning, you're going to need people that buy in to you and what you're trying to do. You really need to get clear on like what your goals are, what's the business's goals, what's the business's mission, right? So that you can actually like relay that to somebody and they can follow you. Some of my early employees did work for free until we could like do a deal, and then they know that I would pay them and I would take care of them. Some of them worked with for very little pay, and then when we did a deal, they know they would get paid, right? But my point is that if you tell them, hey, this is what our vision, our mission is, this is what the business goals are, and then you try to figure out who this person is and you align those business goals to what their goals are, maybe they will work for free. Maybe they will understand, hey, you know what, like this is what we're doing right now. My main goal is to grow it to this year and then next year. And will you get on this mission with me, knowing the actual trade-offs are, knowing what the risks are, so that you don't have to like you don't have to fake the funk, like you could be legit to people and they'll like they have to make the choice. And I see it all the time. We want somebody that, like, especially when you do the apprentice thing, right? Like you want free labor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's okay. If you say, hey, you know what, right now I can't pay anybody. I can teach you what I know, and this is how we can do it. And there's actually like organizations out there that will connect you to the free labor that you're looking for, right? In exchange for credits and you teaching them, and it's all like legit. It's all like nothing's under the table, right? And you're actually exchanging value. You're showing somebody, what you're doing, and then they're giving you their time.
And that's another thing I thought about. My shop is literally set up next to a college campus. And right before COVID hit, they do have a program, an intern program where it's credits, and they come in here. And I was like, oh, perfect. Whatever you sell, straight commission. And you're here for school anyway. But that obviously that's not sustainable. And for me to do that and bring someone in that maybe isn't motivated and they're just there for the credits, that's gone through my head. My systems need to be on point where I can hold them accountable and like they don't really need to think, like if that makes sense. And I feel like my system.
Yeah, it is, but remember, you might be getting ahead of yourself, right? Because you're not at that breaking point yet. I'm telling you that for right now, like you need to think about the goals, the main missions, and then like what are the tasks, like super simple, what are the tasks that you can offload to somebody so that you can spend more time in front of the customers? Because don't think that the person's going to come in and they're going to be the next Jerrid. They're going to be selling, they're going to be producing, they're going to be a one-man band just like you. It's difficult, especially little or no pay and little or absolutely no ownership, right? So that's important for you to think about.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what are you spending the bulk of your time doing right now?
Right now, so this is how my day looks. I get in the morning, I have an Excel spreadsheet of every deal that's been paid for.
Yeah.
And I go through each one and make sure, okay, is this, have they approved this proof? Have I taken this to production yet? Have I ordered these shirts? Like everything, I make sure we go down the line and everything's taken care of that's already paid for.
Yeah.
Then I go into emails. If anyone's reached out through an email, if outsource or third parties, if they've sent me proofs or if they've sent me bills or anything like that,
Yeah.
or if a customer's reaching out with questions, I go through all that. I have my CRM system that has all the customers in there, and I have notes like follow up with so-and-so on ordering their shirts, and I go into the closing. And at the very end of the day, once I get through all that, and I do my one post on Instagram a day. So I throw that in there in Facebook. Yep. And then after that, if there's printing that I have to do in-house on the DTG, then I'll do that until, I'm done and I can't go anymore. And then I just repeat that every day.
Think about it this way. Could you automate some of that? For example, what software do you use to manage your orders coming in is important, right? Mm-hmm. So the proofs and did they pay you and what's the order status, all that stuff, like get something that could offload an hour from your day. In fact, like Sergio, you could send Jerrid a free use of Work, right? I'll have Sergio send you a link. Work manages all your jobs. Use it for free and try it and see if it's going to eliminate some of that time.
Sure. Does it incorporate, because is it specifically made for the DTG or can I incorporate it with
you could do other stuff with it. Yeah. Okay. It just is going to eliminate the back and forth with your customers about, hey, does this look good? Like you put that on them. Mm-hmm. It's going to make them pay up front and select the rush fees and all that stuff. So it's on them. It's not in your to-do list until they paid for it. Tells them where their order status is at. So there's a lot that it could offload from you that you're doing manually. Mm-hmm. Think about the things that the customer is not thinking about that doesn't bring them any value and doesn't bring you any value. Like them emailing you 10 times to get the positioning right on an artwork, mm-hmm. like brings no value to somebody and it's sucking time like crazy from you.
Yep.
That was one of the reasons that I decided to invest so much in building a whole platform for our customers for them to use, because I went through the same things. One of the differences about me is that I actually used to print in the middle of the night with my own machines and do jobs so that I can continue to fund the engineering, continue to do stuff. Like I wasn't selling tons of machines at the beginning, right? So, and I would realize, hey, you know what? Like I don't need to be emailing with the customer like all day. Mm-hmm. They're not gonna pay me my art fees. Oh, can you open that Photoshop file and just like resize and clean it up for me? Like, no, I can't. Yeah. Go here and upload the artwork when it's complete. And then you put that responsibility to the customer, and you're also eliminating that time that is not in front of them, helping mm-hmm. them, that major time that I'm talking to you about. Mm-hmm. So that's just one thing that came to my head. But you could think about in your day, what other stuff can you like outsource to somebody that you don't need a full-time employee doing?
And that's my main business. My main business, the way I use the DTG machine, I use it for the small runs up to like 30 or 40 shirts. At that point, I have a screen printer that does a process print. And it's like you start getting to hundreds and hundreds of shirts. Exactly. This month, there was a lot of hundreds and hundreds of shirts, which I'm grateful for. If I would have DTG'd all those, I would probably still be in the back doing that,
Exactly. And that's why it's super important to be like, hey, you know what? This is where I'm efficient mm-hmm. at my certain, either it's DTG or it's screen printing, sublimation. Like this is where my shop's efficient. I stop at 30, some shops stop at 100, some shops stop at 50, and then you outsource or you use a different technology that makes sense for that order, right?
Right. I'm still looking for someone with a cheetah, out here. I'll just outsource to them.
There you go.
Right. I think
you outsource to somebody with a cheetah and like they could literally do 100 shirts in less than an hour, right? So, mm-hmm. But there's the thing, the major time for you right now, imagine like you're doing well. And I know I was like pushing you like, hey, get these masks and make sure you're selling masks, Jerrid, and blah, blah, just to get you thinking that you can actually grow and thrive through the worst pandemic that we've ever seen.
Oh yeah. These have been my best months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And it was one of the reasons why I decided, hey, you know what? Like, we can't be in contraction mode. We have to be in expansion mode.
Mm-hmm.
It just turns out that this mask and getting it out to people and motivating shift our mindset to be like, all right, I can really dominate. Really? You want 1,000 masks? Really? You want 500 masks? Shit. All right. Let's do this. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then it makes you push harder.
Yep.
So the mentality is you have to be able to thrive and dominate through the worst pandemic, because then it gives you that confidence to be like, hey, I actually can bring somebody in because I survived this shit. Now I could survive something bigger.
Yep.
This is one of the biggest. So I don't know if it gets worse than this, you know?
Yeah.
So it kind of really should prove to yourself your resilience, you know, and your way to push through even through hard times, right? Because sometimes confidence is important at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're telling somebody, hey, this is my vision, this is what I want to do, they're going to feel the confidence. They're going to feel that you got their back. Even if you guys are both broke,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to both like push to get to what that goal is, you know? Something that I've done in the past and I still do. Can you find a virtual assistant?
I've heard about that before. I've never actually pulled the trigger and looked into it.
Yep. So I have many. Yeah, I have many. I've used them for a long time. Even now, even when like we're at 70 employees, I still have virtual assistants that help with certain things.
Mm.
You know, so that hitting all my people on social media, right? Sending them messages all day. Like I can't sit there and do that, you know?
Yeah.
So I need somebody to help me with that. In our accounting department, we have virtual assistants that are to the minute checking all transactions, right?
Mm.
A lot of those different things that you don't need somebody physically or yourself doing, but it's going to force you to train someone and for you to document, hey, this is what Jerrid does every single day. Can I outsource this? Can I get some temporary help? Maybe you need somebody like 3 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And that could be your first step.
It's true. See, it's every time it's scary. It's a scary thought. I know it's something I need to do. As soon as you say that, what comes to my mind is I get this person, and like today's a slower day. You know, I made one sale. I might make some more later, but like, you know, I could hire someone for an hour to go through all that. But right now, like my pipeline's dry, right? Like right now I'm just calling up customers. I guess, I mean, it makes sense. Like I could have had one more hour of calling them, but is it worth me paying that person today to do that if I could have done it myself and still get all that done? You know, at what point do I make that decision where I'm going to get that person and, you know, even if things are dry?
You're gonna have to like decide that. But for example, like we're all in that hustle mode, right? If you can do it and do it all right now and just push from dawn till dusk, then do it. But this is where you need to think. Like it's key that you bring this up. Your pipeline is dry. So now if you would shift some of that busy time to building a pipeline, and this is where marketing and sales go into play. Like, could you be focused more on marketing and selling to build that pipeline?
Yeah.
Because what happens is you build a pipeline and you say, oh, I'm too busy. I'm going to take my foot off the gas and not bring orders in so that I can go in the back and do them
Mm-hmm.
and then push them out. And then your pipeline is dry again because you're busy getting the orders out.
Right. And before we got on this call, I actually went on my Instagram. When something like this hits, I'll run an ad, and then like some people will start inquiring on Instagram, and that's kind of how I drum up business when I'm not out there networking or I don't have my networking meetings and stuff. That's kind of like the way I do it. You know, I remember I was at a training before where we were talking about the Shopify or like, you know, getting a website where people go through and it has them like, you know, at the end they send you a message of exactly what they want. It should like, you know, sift them down into that. I don't know. I tried that. And maybe I just didn't do it long enough, but you know, I've had the best luck just hand-to-hand combat calling people, and it's like I don't want to be there the rest of my life though.
Yeah, that's not gonna scale, right? So this is the thing. The printing business, and it's one of the reasons that I got into it. It's like old school, stable, legit, right? But it also can use some technology. It can use some modern ways of doing things, right? the reality is I've been pushing getting on e-commerce for a long time. And this is the thing. You have to make sure that you have your offer down. What's your offer? You know, where do you send somebody for your offer? How do they buy it? And then can you send a whole bunch of people there and you could be making money while you're sleeping so that your funnel is making the orders come in and you're out there just promoting. Like, for example, right now, so you're going to have like thousands and thousands of people watch this. Can you send them somewhere to say, you know what, if you need anything for a promotion, like go here and buy it?
I don't have a click and buy now.
Yeah.
I don't have a click and buy now.
So there's the thing, like you would say you're a millennial, right?
I don't know. I don't care.
I don't know what the cutoffs are, right? But there's the thing, like you have to be able to give somebody an easy way to go buy your stuff.
Right.
So we could help you with that. I'm telling you, try the platform for free because it also has a front-facing web store that you could send somebody there. It links into, you know, Alpha, wherever you get your blanks. You send them there, they choose the blank, they decorate it, they buy it, they pay you, all e-commerce.
That's great. And when you bring that up, so I've seen a lot of different business models, right? Between my vendors that I go to physically, like there's a big print house that's down the street that does they only do printing, like screen printing, and they only do embroidery.
Yeah.
Right? They have guys working in the back and it's very simple. It's very streamlined. They use like Printavo. I don't know if you've heard of Printavo.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm like, cool, you know, that's, you know, but they don't really outsource. Everything is in-house.
Yep.
With me, the way my model works, I outsource everything. And not only do I do the printing, I also do the promotional products.
Yeah.
And finding a way to combine all of that into one system, because I go through Sage, you know, the promotional stuff. That's where my CRM system is. You know, I tried Shopify during the pandemic and I sold a lot of masks on there.
Yeah.
I threw some t-shirts up there. Were they great designs? Maybe not, but you know, I didn't sell too many t-shirts. So I'm really trying to figure out, when we talk about goals and vision for the company, I'm really just a big, you know, blob of potential. You know, I'm selling a lot in the promotional over here. I'm selling a lot in the shirts. I'm selling a lot in the embroidery. But if I'm going to scale, you know, is it really scalable to do all of those things? You know, and it's hard. It would be hard to let go if it's making me money right now, you know?
Yep, for sure. And that's why you have to be like, hey, you know, what can I focus on right now? What can I do right now? What can I sell right now? What do you have available to yourself to be able to bring value to somebody else and then let them know and then make it easy for them to buy?
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, link up a few Shopify stores and put the products up there for people to buy.
Well, when you talk about that, like I'll take a look at the work thing. I think maybe like, you know, an option, you know, like for one style of pen, because we talk about customers going back and forth. Oh, can I have this color? Can you change this? Can you do that? Like having options like you get this pen with this one color imprint.
Yeah.
For this deal.
It has to be like that, right? In the platform, one of the valuable things about using a system, and I'm not here to pitch ours. I'm offering you for free that you can try, but you can choose whatever. The point is, the most valuable thing that you can gather from using a system is that it forces you to select the price, to select the options. What are you going to offer? How many? The discounts. All that stuff is done on the platform. You do it in advance, and you're not stuck quoting customers on every deal. Like I have 5 colors. I have 5 blanks, and this is where you go buy them. When you choose your options, it's going to give you the price. Oh, I want it faster. Choose a rush fee. It's all there.
Yep.
You know? Oh, can you check out my artwork? Go ahead and upload it. The system will check to make sure that it's a high quality DPI. Otherwise, it'll bounce it back to you.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So any system will force you to define your sales process and your offer. Like, do you find yourself quoting people all the time?
Absolutely.
Like,
yeah.
And it's sometimes it's the same shit. You even use the same template.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, yeah, literally that's what I did to close this sale. You know, I took the same exact hats I did for someone else, similar stitch count. You know, I just, you know, threw it in there and, you know, I requoted it like that. But that's the tough part too, because it is also a custom process.
Yeah.
Someone that wants a small embroidery here is going to be a lot different than someone wants a bigger embroidery.
Yep. So for example, in our platform, you have a back end and you say, hey, this is what I'm going to charge per square inch or per side or per front, right? And as the customer changes the artwork, the pricing's recalculating, right? And it's forcing you on the back end to be like, hey, this is how much I charge per side. This is how much I charge per square inch, how much I charge for an Excel. This is how much I charge for this, that. That way, like as they go through it, they do their options there, right? It's not you on an Excel sheet changing shit around and then coming up to another price, right?
Yeah.
Like there's a system that could do it for you. Doesn't matter what you sell. If you could buy a Tesla online, like, do you think it's a big deal for you to, like, for somebody to buy a hat, you know? I just want you to think about and expand yourself on the long game. If you had like 5, 10, 15 people selling for you, would you want them quoting all day, or would you want them sending somebody to get the orders in? Or could you send a huge blast and have 0 salespeople and the orders pile in?
The way my store is set up, like I have so many options, dude. Like when someone walks in, they're overwhelmed.
Yeah.
I literally have a bathrobe back there that's embroidered. Like it's, you know, but you know, that's what I've had to do to survive. You know, when you're not known, it's like, you know, oh, you want custom, you know, tags for your shirts? I'll freaking figure it out if that means I get money. You know, you want a custom bathrobe? I'll do it, you know, just so I can get that, you know, and I have so many accounts now where I'm doing so many different custom things. It fries my brain.
Yeah. But that's okay though, right? You have to do whatever it takes to build the reputation and build your client base. Right?
Exactly.
That's all right. But as you continue to grow and to scale, you'll need to specialize and you'll need to like narrow down your offering so that you can like automate it and that you can make a process around it.
Yep. Absolutely.
Right? This is going to be my minimum for tags. You know, this is who does my tags. This is the price to add to the order. Like as you start like automating things, and I'm not talking about like automating, like having robots do everything, right? I'm talking about like your process of selling and your process of what you want to sell somebody and what your offer is. As you start like streamlining that, then it'll point you to like, all right, you know what? I got to make a decision. How many robes did I sell? I sold 1 robe in 2019. Do I even want it in my brain? You know? I'll remove it. I'll hide the option. And take it from me that I'm the kind of guy that has 57 tabs open on my browser, you know, and like tons of projects, you know, and I have R&D people and I have a lab here and I have like engineers and pretty much like everything a nerd could want. I could say, hey, you know what? Today we're going to build a Converse Platinum, guys. Let's do it. But that's my point. So you have to be able to say, hey, you know what? This goes into my idea list. I have to focus on this, launch it, make a process out of it, be able to sell some, have some successes, and then push forward, right? So that you're not thinking, oh yeah, that I haven't sold any of these robes.
You can have that robe.
Yeah.
Next time you come to the shop, you can have that robe. I'll give you
exactly. They just put my name on there.
There you go. Minimum 12 though, I tell people.
Yeah, exactly. See, there you go. There you go. You have that. And that's why I asked you, hey, it's important to write down your challenges and write down your questions so that you can start thinking about and really executing on where you want to be and trying those things so that you could become more successful. I got to tell you, for myself, when I was quoting everything, when I was building the machines, delivering them, doing tech support, all that stuff, I didn't start really scaling until I had somebody doing specialized things. I brought a team in. I showed them, hey, this is how you do this job. This is how you do that job. And they started helping me do what I want to do. Like right now, I'm doing what I want to do. I want to build cool stuff. I want to help my customers. Like those are the things that I wanted to do. Did I clean the fucking warehouse on Saturdays a long time ago? Yeah, I did. Reorganize it. Oh, I'm running out of space. Reorganize again. Do every odd job in the business. I did all that. And you're going to have to do it. But at some point, you got to start like figuring out what you want for the future, what your vision is for yourself. If you don't see yourself grinding nonstop to get the order, market, produce it, outsource it, all that stuff. If you don't see yourself doing that, then start figuring out how you get away from that.
It's so hard to think that. Like right now, my mind is so one track. Because you already know when you're in it, you're just like, you're in battle mode all the time. It's hard to think long term. Right now I'm starting to think long term because I've been in battle mode so long.
Yeah.
I've been making some money, but now I can see it's not going to be sustainable for long term.
Do you have the time? Like, do you spend the time on a Sunday afternoon or whatever and figure out the goals? I'm not talking about the embroidery machines running, the DTGs running, you're in there doing stuff. I'm talking about you're actually focused on what your goals are 5 years down the line, 10 years, whatever.
Honestly, no, it's just been grind as hard as I can.
Yeah. So, which is good. Now you're at the point where you're going to need to be like, hey, you know what? Where do I want to be? Where do I see myself next year? And then you break that down to micro steps on how to get there. I look at my goals every morning. I wrote them in a certain way where they're written as if I already accomplished them. That's the thing. So make sure that you're actually doing those things. And dude, some of it sounds super basic, but I learned it from mentors too. I look at like, who are the billionaires out there that I want to aspire to? And I see what they're doing. And some of their shit's super basic.
Yeah, dude, I've heard people talk about goals forever. Like, I've been to seminars, I've been to webinars, it's always about the goals. And like you said, it sounds so basic. And, I've tried to write down goals. Like, I think I wrote down and they were so superficial. I've tried to give it thought, but I'm like, what's really realistic? Yeah. And, if I don't even have a vision for this and I'm just grinding so hard, it's like, it's hard to write goals, for things that you don't really know where you want to be. I just know I want to be, I want to keep doing this. I want to make good money doing it. And, that's where my brain's at.
Yeah, exactly. And there's a thing. When I started, you know why I started? I wanted to make a shit ton of money.
Mm-hmm.
Right? No, seriously. But actually, to get to where I am now, to be like, hey, you know what? I want to build a huge community of entrepreneurs that are winning with my products, like as my goals, as my mission. It took me a while to get there. Like, what the fuck am I doing? And I started with, all right, I need to do better and I need to make money. And that's how I started. And it's all right, dude. But at some point you need to be like, all right, I want to do this. I want to do that. Because when you start interviewing people and you start trying to illustrate what you want, like people, especially now, they want to be inspired about what you're doing and what the vision is. And because there's tons of jobs out there.
Yeah.
Even through this pandemic, people are getting hired,
Mm-hmm.
And or it's more chill to be at home on unemployment. If you don't inspire somebody to come help you, even if they make more money on unemployment, then your vision to yourself, you need to look at it.
Mm-hmm.
You need to do that. So enough about goals. It's super basic, it's super corny and super necessary too.
Yeah.
Where can people go and find your stuff? Where can people go to visit your page, your Instagram? Like, where can you send somebody to go check you out and follow you? And
so I do a lot of Instagram and Facebook. It's funny, if you go on my Instagram right now and go to the link tree, I actually converted the Shopify store that I did over the pandemic because I'm not really selling blank masks anymore. It's not really, they're not as hot as they were.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I told you this before, but I work with, you ever heard of the show Leave It to Beaver?
Yeah.
So if you go on the website right now, I actually sell the merchandise for them, and I've made it like e-commerce because they're one of my customers.
That's cool.
So, it's kind of still linked to my store. But
so get your beaver wear right there.
Oh yeah, well I do all the embroidery, the shirts. Their shirts are DTG'd. It looks like he actually signed the shirt, in the blue ink.
Oh, that's awesome.
Where I made like some digital pins for them, and but that's my Shopify store linked right there. So don't click that. But right now mainly I just send them to my Instagram and Facebook. People just DM me there.
And what's your Instagram? It's
the letter U and then promos, PROMOS. Super simple.
U promos. So what else you got for me?
You hit most of the major points. The questions I had written down was, when did you know you needed to hire your first person? We talked about that. We talked about when you're first hiring somebody. Looking for the qualities that you want. I know what I want, but it's, when you're sitting down with somebody and, you're asking them like questions and stuff to see, because you could totally train someone and they're gone.
Yeah.
So, sifting through that, saving time with that. We talked about, what to expect from the employees. You talked about them not having ownership, so it's really hard to expect a lot like I expected myself. Those were the main points. I really just wanted to show you what I was doing here.
Yeah.
Kind of get you, let you dissect it a little bit. And
like, honestly, I'm impressed with what you're doing, and it's super important. Like, if any of you guys are out there and you want some one-on-one time, you want to get on a live and go through it, reach out. One of the things that you did, you're like, hey, you know what? I have some questions. Can you help me with this? And sometimes it's as simple as that. Give you some clarity. The other thing is, you really don't want to be somebody that's always consuming information, right? Going to the seminars, going to webinars. Like, you have to put a plan of attack after you do any of these webinars and sessions or whatever. You have to say, hey, you know what are my takeaways? What can I prioritize? What's valuable? What do I really want to do? And actually implement it. Because you can't, and I've done it in the past. Oh, go to all these events and then you don't do shit afterwards.
Yeah.
Even if you bought a course afterwards, you have to implement it.
Right. Most of this has been trial by ear. Like, this whole business, I didn't even think about it. Honestly, I just jumped into it and said, let's sink or swim.
Yeah.
That's how I do most things. Even I think I told you over the weekend, I actually moved out of my parents' house for the first time.
Nice.
I didn't even budget for that. Honestly, I got a really good deal from my buddy. I said, I'll figure it out. Let me just do this. And
good job. It's make you like actually hustle and be more independent, right?
Yeah.
I think that it's a super valuable time. I hope that I was able to help you out, Jerrid. Make sure that you keep hammering on those things every step of the way. You're going to need some guidance, and you're going to need to learn, and then you're going to need to implement and test new things. It's okay to be like you feel like you're jumping off a cliff. If it was like the entrepreneur life is not for all. So you're going to have a lot of people looking up to you, especially if you get your vision right, if you get everything down. So make sure that you're able to really fine tune your goals enough so that you can inspire somebody. It sounds super basic, but it's something that you're going to have to do. And then hit up Sergio for the free stuff.
Okay.
Try it out, link it up to your Shopify store, make another store where you sell the pens. I don't know. Just automate yourself. It'll help you push forward and focus on building that pipeline.
Yeah, that's the biggest takeaway. I think, because I did the store before, I converted it into the Leave It to Beaver store.
Yep.
But really having a place to send people. But I know the printing world is so versatile. Someone having it be where it's there's all these options, and then if they really need something custom after that, then they can reach out.
Yeah. Yeah. If it fits your process, and if you want to do those kind of jobs, maybe you're doing a shit ton of automated orders already. Sometimes you have to filter out jobs that end up not being profitable because it just takes too much attention to do it. Or you put a different service out that says, hey, you know what? If you need something custom like this, this is the service and this is how much it is. That'll be super important. So I think before we close out, I want to make sure that you guys that are out there, that you keep pushing, you feel inspired to do things, reach out to us. I know we're not talking specifically about printing here, but it's more about building your businesses and continue to push forward, right? So make sure you subscribe and and all the stuff wherever Sergio ends up putting it. We're here to help you guys. So Jerrid, thank you, buddy, for coming on. I hope this was beneficial for you.
No, it was. I got some good nuggets of wisdom, so I appreciate it. Appreciate the time.
No problem. We'll talk to you soon, buddy.
All right. Take care.